There we go. We got audio. That's to make it easy to sync it up later in post. This is the Sony A7C. This is the Sony ZV1, and you're looking at the Sony A7S III. And in my opinion, these are the three best cameras at three different tiers. I'm about to sound like I'm getting paid by Sony, but I ain't. And I'm being completely truthful when I say that these were my three favorite cameras of 2020 for all different reasons. And they just happen to be made by Sony. Now, this video isn't some battle to see which camera is the better camera. They really don't compare at all to each other. And that's kind of the point. All three of these cameras offer something that the other ones don't.
Resume is a heavyweight, yeah. Put it on my back, give me everything, yeah. I need everything, I need all of everything, yeah.
Now I have reviews for all three of these cameras already, so I'll drop links down below so we don't have to run through all the specs and make this a huge 3-camera review video. We're gonna talk about some specs as we go, but it's not gonna be a full rundown of each camera. Man, I just ate a antacid Tums chewable. Them things dry as hell. I feel like I got powder all over my mouth right now. Damn. I need some cocoa butter or something. All right, these are the setups. With the Sony A7S III, we're using the G Master 16-35 f2.8, which I happen to own this setup, along with the Sony ZV1, which has a built-in lens of about 24-70. A little closer to 28 than it is 24, especially when you throw in the active steady shot, but we'll check that out a little bit. And on the A7C, we're using the extremely expensive G Master 12-24 f2.8. This is a $3,000 lens on a budget full frame camera body. Review coming on this lens soon with the A7S III, so make sure you're subscribed. And this setup was sent to me by B&H Photo. Thank you guys. You are well aware of who B&H Photo is. It's the #1 camera dealer in the country, maybe the whole wide world. And I'll have links to everything you see in this video here in the description below if you want to pick something up for yourself. This is the Sony ZV1, in my opinion, the best 1-inch point and shoot to date. Flip screen, good image stabilization, great image quality, hot shoe, mic jack. It's tiny, easy to use, and it's the perfect camera to keep on you at all times. I think it's priced really well for what it offers, and like 90% of the time when people ask me, what camera should I buy right around this price range? It's almost always the Sony ZV1 now. Used to be cameras like the Canon M50, but I'd rather have this 1-inch point and shoot over the Canon M50 APS-C crop sensor camera. I think the one downside that pretty much everybody agrees on with this camera is that the focal length at its widest is not really wide enough for doing this right here. Vlogging, walking, hand holding. I'd like it to be a little bit wider. I think everybody would. Right now I'm using this tiny little Ulanzi mini tripod vlogging grip that I think is just about perfect for the ZV1. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. But you could also pick up something like a selfie stick and then just extend your camera out a little bit more and you can easily get the focal length that you're looking for. Or you could add something like this, which is a $50 Ulanzi wide angle adapter that goes over the front of the ZV1 and it turns it into an 18mm focal length equivalent. Let's check it out. All right, here's the adapter, and as you can see, it's a pretty decent amount wider. And even though the ZV1 has a built-in 3-stop ND filter, which is great, you also have a filter thread on the end of this wide angle adapter, so you could add additional ND to your camera if you want to. Now we do have active steady shot turned on now, and we had it on before without the wide angle adapter, and I think this is a pretty acceptable focal length for vlogging. Now if you want to add a little bit more stabilization, you have the option with this camera as well as the other two cameras to stabilize using Sony Catalyst Browse, which is a software made by Sony that uses your gyroscopic data from your camera if your camera offers that, reads it, figures out all your movement, and then stabilizes your image by cropping in. And it works really well. Only problem is it takes a long time to render. All right, now we are on the Sony A7C. In my opinion, this is the best mid-range full frame camera that's come out this year. And I'll tell you why. If it wasn't for 4K 60, it wouldn't even be a problem. The R6 on paper probably pans out to be better than the A7C. But in reality, number one, Those files are really, really, really hard to edit. Really hard to edit. Everybody's reviews are just saying that these files chug along. You got to make proxy files. It's just, who wants to deal with that? You have the flip screen. You got great battery life. You have all the log profiles that Sony has to offer. This camera does have IBIS, not the greatest. Active steady shot would have made it a lot better. I don't see why they didn't add active steady shot to this camera. I think it would have been nice. At least we have the option to stabilize and catalyst browse. So if you're somebody that vlogs and walks and talks all the time, maybe this isn't for you. But if you kind of just do it every now and then, I don't think it'll be that much of a headache to stabilize 1 or 2 clips in post using catalyst browse. We got great autofocus in this camera. It's small, it's lightweight, it's compact. Without a lens, this thing could fit in your pocket. Also, we have great dynamic range on this camera. Now, unfortunately, we can't see it today, but if you're shooting in HOG or S-Log2, you're gonna get some pretty damn good dynamic range. Big fan of this camera, and to be honest with you, if Sony didn't drop the A7S III, I would have probably bought the A7C this year. All right, here it is. The GOAT, the camera that made me feel stupid for switching to Canon for like 5-6 months. But this comes with a hefty price tag. Talking almost $4 grand after tax. $4,000, close to it in the US, $3,500. Same as everything else. Flip screen, fully touchscreen, brand new menu system, 10-bit video across the board in every single resolution and frame rate. You kidding me? Now I know, it's nauseating to hear it over and over how good this camera is. I'm getting sick of it myself because I watched so many damn reviews while I was waiting for my shipment to finally arrive. That took forever, but it just is that good. The only thing that could really make this camera any better, in my opinion, is the option to use the gyro stabilization in camera and then have a slider to adjust your crop for intensity. The 4K 120 looks basically as good as the 4K 24 does. Check out these shots that I got of Vanessa the other day. By the way, I didn't bring any bag with me at all today. I walked out of the house with 3 cameras, 2 grips, ND filter, just bundled in my arms like I'm carrying freaking groceries over here. And now I gotta do it back. On the way back to the car. Let's put this cap on. All right, so what about in the studio? Can you use all 3 of these cameras in the studio? And the answer is, of course, especially with the A7S III and the A7C. But the ZV1 does a pretty darn good job indoors, especially if you have good lighting. And here's the Sony ZV1 indoors with good controlled lighting. And I think it does a heck of a job for a 1-inch point-and-shoot camera. Now we do have the Ulanzi wide-angle adapter on in the studio as well, just because it doesn't really bother the image quality whatsoever, and I needed a little bit of a wider shot for this particular angle right here, and I don't want to put the camera any further back than it. I don't need to explain myself to you. A lot of these smaller cameras with smaller sensors, not really made for indoor shooting, but the ZV1 does a pretty good job. So who has what of these cameras? I know pre-orders are still backed up on the A7S III. I thought I was gonna have to wait till December for mine. Did you get yours in? Are you happy with it? Do you have the A7C? Do you own the ZV1? Give me your thoughts down below, drop some comments, let's just talk. This is supposed to be a fun video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you are not yet subscribed, please do so. I'd appreciate it very highly. All right, my people, until next time, enjoy your day, your night, and tomorrow morning, salute. I want everything. That's on everything. It's like a wedding ring.